Welcome to the Career Ready Podcast. Learn about resumes, cover letters, LinkedIn, interviewing, and all the things you need to be career ready with the Career Services Center at College of DuPage. I'm one of your hosts, Marisela Morales. Later in today's episode, I'm going to lead the conversation talking about ways to job search by utilizing job boards.
And I'm your other host, Pierre Michiels. I'm going to start our episode today highlighting a behavior of the NACE competency, professionalism. For those not familiar, NACE is the National Association of Colleges and Employers. Through their work, they survey employers identifying top skill sets employers desire. With this, 8 competencies are traditionally identified, professionalism being one of them. Professionalism, defined by NACE, is knowing how work environments differ greatly, understand and demonstrate effective work habits, and act in the interest of the larger community and workplace. This competency is essential because it reflects how you show up on the job. But in addition to being on the job, this is reflected through the application process as well. As we think of these NACE competencies, they're also identifying behaviors in addition to the definition. One of these behaviors for professionalism is have attention to detail, resulting in few, if any, errors in their work. Attention to detail might sound simple, but it's one of the most important and powerful ways to demonstrate professionalism. Employers notice when your work is polished and accurate. Madi, is there a way you could think of us demonstrating our professionalism through accurate, polished work in the application process?
So I think that a really good example of this is resumes. One of the things that we love to emphasize when we are writing resumes are the skill sets that we have. And one of the things that I've often seen and that I am guilty of doing myself is being detail-oriented or attention to detail, something to that effect. Yet, that same resume is going to be riddled with errors. And again, I have been guilty of this myself. So why is that important? Because when we have a professional document, whether it is your resume, whether it is your cover letter, it's going to be a reflection of you. And so they're going to be reviewing your experiences, your education, your skills. And so they're already kind of tuning into who you are as a professional. They are looking at your professional story. But then when they when they stumble upon an error, it kind of takes them out, right? Like we do it ourselves when we are reviewing resumes where we're just like, ooh. So that is a really good example of the importance of attention to detail. It really does not reflect well on us when we are trying to prove our value and yet we ourselves are not presenting ourselves in the best way possible in a document that we ourselves created. It wasn't something that was, kind of put at the last minute. It was just asked, unexpectedly. It was something that we submitted. We willingly submitted it. Mm-hmm. And yet, it has mistakes.
Yeah, right. So then when we as these professionals or when we're talking about an employer saying, 1-2 mistakes on the resume will get you eliminated, now we're understanding why, right? They're assessing our professionalism and the detail that we put into our work on the job, right? It's not just to weed out applicants. It's really, this is the way they present themselves through this important process of getting a job. Well, how are they going to conduct themselves on the job?
Exactly.
So your resume, cover letter, even LinkedIn, these are all great ways to be reflecting your professionalism. How you're creating these documents, creating that profile is going to be expressing your attention to detail, this professionalism, not just for the application process, but also once you're on the job. So any type of typo, inconsistency can be sending the wrong message to that employer. So it's really important to be paying attention to this to reflect better professionalism, not just in the application, but then giving them the insight once you're on the job. So as Madi was saying, we in our office will proofread resumes. Find other people to proofread it. Make sure you're slowing down, taking the time of proofreading your own documents. I know I'm really guilty of this. I spend so much time working on a document that I have a hard time going back and proofreading it myself because I know what I want to be there. So then I miss those mistakes because I'm already correcting them in my mind. So get other people to look at it, but use different tools to help you as well. In our office, we've got VMock, but other resume AI platforms are out there that could be helpful. Grammarly is another resource you could be looking at, or even just using general AI to submit and have it review. Double checking names, dates, job titles, all those little details, because any inaccuracy can throw things off, can reflect poor professionalism. And make sure you're following their instructions. If they're asking for a PDF, that's how you're submitting it. If they say no cover letters, even though our office always encourages a cover letter, follow their instructions. Because if you don't follow their instructions, you're not reflecting that professionalism they're expecting of you, not just from the job search process, but also once on the job. So by demonstrating attention to detail, you're signaling to that employer that you're reliable, thorough, and ready to contribute to that organization. So now that I've shared some thoughts on demonstrating professionalism on the application, I want to hand it over to Madi to talk about approaching the job search by utilizing job boards.
Thank you, Pierre. The average job posting gets hundreds of applications, so we need to do more than simply click apply. Today, we're diving into searching for jobs through job boards and breaking down the strategies that move your application from the bottom of the pile straight to the top of the recruiter's desk. Let's get started. The first mistake people make is treating job boards like a library, just browsing. Job boards are more like databases. We need to use them strategically. Use a multi-platform strategy where you use general job boards, niche job boards, university job boards, and company sites. Start by identifying 10 to 15 companies and 3 to 5 job titles. Think about your preferred industries and locations and then expand outward. Read your job descriptions closely. Apply early, aiming for roles where you meet at least 60 to 70% of the applications, and track everything. Network alongside your applications and follow up. And don't forget to build your skills while searching. Now, this is just a little bit of an overview of what we're going to discuss today. But now we're going to go ahead and deep dive a little further, starting with discussing the job boards. First, never rely just on one job board. Instead, use a combination of general job boards for volume roles and niche boards for more targeted, lower competition opportunities. For internship roles, start early and use internship-friendly websites. And finally, never underestimate the value of going directly to the source. Company websites. That's where you'll find the most accurate, up-to-date listings. Let's talk about general job boards. Again, these are great because of the sheer volume of jobs posted. Some of the best known include Indeed. This is well known because of its massive listings and the easy filters that they have for salary, location, remote options, etc. We also have LinkedIn Jobs, which is fantastic because it lets you not only apply directly, but even better, you also get to network. With Glassdoor, this gives you an inside look at the salaries and the company culture, because sometimes the real story isn't just in the job description. And then finally, we have some oldie but goodies, ZipRecruiter and Monster. These remain strong general job boards, especially for people who are open to a variety of industries. Next, let's talk a little bit about those niche job boards. These will be more tailored for specific fields or populations. There are many of these, each concentrating on different industries, so please be sure to find out which one is geared towards the field that you are exploring. And make sure to verify the legitimacy before sharing any personal information or applying for any roles. Now let's talk about some examples of some of these niche job boards that we're talking about. Dice is great for IT and tech professionals. And we also have Built-in, which is also great for the tech industry, but they focus on hubs that are in New York City as well as Chicago. We also have Flex Jobs, which specializes in verified remote and hybrid roles. Ladders is for those high-paying jobs, typically about $100,000 and above. Idealist is excellent for nonprofit social impact and community-based work. USA Jobs is a wonderful source for federal job opportunities. This is something that you may not be familiar with, but HR Crossing. This website focuses on HR or human resources roles. And finally, Media Bistro. This one specializes and focuses on journalism, publishing, and marketing, and other media fields.
Mari, thanks for sharing these wonderful lists, right? This is so helpful to realize that there's so many job boards out there, because a lot of times when I'm in appointments, people just come in and they're like, oh, I'm using Indeed, right? Indeed is normally named. It's one of the most popular ones. I just love that you're providing this list so people can realize that there are options out there. And if you're getting overwhelmed from this list that Madi is sharing, she doesn't know all this off the top of her head. She looked it up, right? You could just jump online and, what I recommend is people just go to Google your job search engine and type in job boards and you'll actually get a list of a few different sites that will pertain to you.
Absolutely.
So, Mari, thank you for helping open up this idea of all these different options.
And I also wanted to note, so it even goes beyond that. You can even look up job boards based on professional associations and clubs. Yeah. I mean, there are different ways that you can search for specific niche job boards. Mm-hmm. So think about how you can identify job boards that are more suited, more tailored for your specific needs. But you don't even have to think about specific industries. You can even think about location. Think about it in terms of your state, your county, your city, chamber of commerce, college. So, for example, we live in DuPage County. So people who live in our area, they can look at Illinois Job Link. That is something that is specific for people in Illinois. But if you want to get more local, you can go to WorkNet DuPage. Or if you want to get even more local, you can go to Chaps Get Hired, where we not only list job opportunities for COD students, but we also have job opportunities that are available to community members as well. Then we have job boards that are also available for college students searching for internship or entry-level positions. There's Handshake, Way Up, Idealist, Vault, which I had never heard of until I started researching this. But this particular job board is ideal for people who are in finance, consulting, or law. And then you have, again, people who are in technology. These are some really interesting, because we've heard of DICE, but I had never heard of TechGen. TechGen is for tech and startup internships with extra resources. And then there's Y Combinator, which has job boards. Now, this is a hidden gem for internships and roles at innovative tech startups. And then there's Go Government, which has federal internships. But once again, just as I had mentioned for the other list, always check professional clubs and industry associations. Now, if you're looking for something a little more unique or a unique experience and you are starting off, check out CoolWorks, where they don't necessarily offer internships. However, they do promote seasonal jobs at national parks, resorts, touring companies. U-Turn, this is unique because it connects college students with mentorship-based internships. Parker Dewey offers short-term professional assignments that are also known as micro-internships. And then we have The Forage, which offers free virtual job simulations from some of the world's biggest companies. So I highly recommend that you check these out. But again, we don't want you to feel overwhelmed. Look on the internet. I will also be providing the resources that help me discover some of these wonderful job boards, because I want you to gain access to these as well. Now, finally, and this cannot be stated enough, never forget the value of checking the actual company's direct website. That is because the listings posted there are the most up-to-date and the most dependable. So we talked about using a variety of types of job boards, whether it is general, niche, if it's local, it's through the college. But now let's go to another strategy that you can use. and that is filtering. Filter your job search so that you can avoid jobs that are not relevant to your needs. Focus on filters, whether it is location, job type, experience level. But there is one particular filter that I really want to focus on, which is post date. This is for strategic purposes. Filtering your search to the last 24 hours or jobs that were posted within the past week is incredibly powerful. It helps you avoid expired listings and roles that have already been inundated with other applicants. It significantly increases your chances of having your resume reviewed because most recruiters look at early applicants first. Another key strategy is searching using different job titles for the same role. For example, if you're looking for a marketing intern, but you only use that job title, you're going to be missing opportunities. This is because different companies use different job titles for similar roles. So instead, play with the job title that you have, or search by skill, such as content, digital, brand, or social media. If you're unsure of what terms to use, look at tools such as ONET or Career Coach to help you. Next, be sure to screen for scams and vet the company. Before you apply to anything, take 5 minutes to research. Look for red flags such as no company name, or a Gmail or Yahoo contact email, or a salary or job opportunity that just seems like it's just too good to be true, because it probably is. Then check the company site. You can check out Glassdoor for the reviews. You can check the Better Business Bureau. You can look at recent news, the company site, etc. Make sure that the role looks legitimate and that the company appears to be stable.
Mari, thanks for running through all these things, so many resources, and I love what you're saying as far as these filters and researching. I gotta emphasize that date posted, because we know there are employers that will post a job and they're not actually even hiring. They're just collecting applications. So then if you're using that filter, you know that, okay, it's something that they're recently posting that they're actively looking for, as opposed to something that just kind of sits out there and they're just waiting until they have a really good applicant, then they'll move forward, right? Because sometimes that's how employers operate. And then also pointing out using various search terms. You know, this is something that comes up a lot in my job search appointments, where they're like, oh, I'm working on this degree. And then that's what we're using as a search term. And then we don't find anything because it's the degree. It's not the job. So being able to use some various language will definitely help yield more results and expose you to some different possibilities that are good fits that you wouldn't have come by otherwise.
Absolutely. And going back to the importance of applying as soon as possible, another thing that I wanted to point out was that just because a job is still posted does not mean that it is available. So that's another reason that it is really important to apply as soon as possible, like within the first 24 hours, within the first 48 hours, 72 hours, as soon as possible. What I mean by that, what I mean by that it may no longer be available is because so a lot of times employers are not able to remove a job posting until somebody has actually filled the role. And we're not talking about merely identifying a candidate that they want to hire or even extending a job offer. We're talking somebody has actually physically started the job. So sometimes you'll see job postings that are very dated, but they're still posted. And that is why that is the case. So it is best to apply as soon as possible, because that shows that it really is something that is recent and that likely has not gone through the interview and hiring process.
Yeah, if you're going through the search process, if there's a really good opportunity you want to apply to, always take that opportunity and apply to it. But try to make sure that you're applying within the first 2 weeks of it being posted, because you want to be in this window that Mari's referring to. Absolutely.
And on another note, regarding apply, this is another thing that we really want to emphasize. So once you have identified the job posting, and we are emphasizing the importance of being expeditious, right? However, we don't want you to lose sight of the importance of tailoring. So there's a couple of additional tips that I want to add. You might be tempted to hit that quick apply. However, I want you to remember that we are being strategic. This is not a numbers game. This is not about how many applications you have put. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. So as tempted as you might be to reach that 24 hours, it's okay to kind of hold back, take a moment to make sure that your resume is ATS friendly and that you have actually tailored it to the job description. So look at the job description, look for those key phrases, reflect. How do I meet the job requirements, the experience, the education, and make sure that it is reflected in your resume using the specific key phrases that they have used in the job description. This is going to help you with the applicant tracking systems that so many employers are using today.
Yeah, using that quick apply or easy apply, whatever they're labeling it as, may meet that instant gratification, but it's going to create this future frustration of why am I not hearing back? Right? So we always preach it through our office, through the podcast, that you need to be tailoring, you need to be targeting that employer. And while we're talking about trying to get in there early, if you get in there too early, and going back to what we discussed earlier as far as those professionalism and all these errors that you now have because you rushed to do it, well, you're going to get disregarded, right? So take the time to personalize it. Don't follow that idea of a quick apply and just get in there with a strong application.
Absolutely. And there's another reason that we want you to think twice about the quick apply. Now, quick apply is something that is incredibly convenient, and sometimes it's the only option that we have for certain job listings. However, whenever possible, use it sparingly. This is because it often funnels your application into a huge, lower quality applicant pool that may never be reviewed. So once you have taken the time to review and tailor your resume and other professional documents, including your cover letter, any other supporting documents, try to apply directly to the employer's website. Again, we recognize that sometimes that is not an option. Sometimes the employer will direct applicants to some of these job boards with the quick apply. However, whenever possible, try to apply directly to the website. After submitting your application, increase your visibility by networking with the company. Use LinkedIn to connect with the employers or send a message to the recruiter. A personal touch or referral can move your application straight to the top. After this, track your applications. Create a spreadsheet with the company name, job title, the date that you applied, your status, and your follow-up dates. This is going to keep you organized and consistent. Now, most people apply and they wait, but you're going to make yourself stand out. Wait maybe about 5 to 7 days after submitting, and then send a brief message to the recruiter or hiring manager. The message could be something as simple as this. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I recently applied for such and such a role and wanted to express my enthusiasm. I'd love to learn a little bit more about this position if you have a moment. This small initiative often brings your application to the surface and will separate you from the rest.
And that's a great way to kind of wrap up this conversation about the job boards, because if you've been listening to our series here on the job search, we started off talking about the importance of networking and making those connections, because that's how employers like to start off. So if you haven't listened to that episode, I recommend that you go back and listen to that, because these connections, even that simple follow-up that Madi was just advocating for, goes a really long way in helping you stand out to these employers. So thank you, Madi, for all this great information, all these wonderful resources, and thank you to all our listeners for joining us today. We hope you feel better prepared going through the job search and utilizing job boards. There was no listener question in today's episode, but if you have a question you want to hear answered in a future episode, you can submit it to careerpodcast@cod.edu and join us for our next episode to get more career-ready content.